Coming up on Tech News Today, AntiSec hits the military big time. Also, Ballmer gives a keynote and is very un-Ballmer-like. And Google gets its own e-reader, but is it any good? All that and more coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Monday, July 1st, 2011. It's July 11th, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And this is the show where we totally messed up the intro writing, but we recovered.
Yeah.
There are two ones on today, not
That's
one.
the only thing we messed up.
He's not Ayaz Akhtar.
What's
Darren
this
Kitchen.
we stuff? I wasn't talking.
Well, now it's
It's
fixed.
him and the multiple personalities. I'm just saying.
I just looked and everything's correct now. This is
Whoa.
It's like a
Your
collaboration
bailiff alter
document.
ego just tried to get you, but you got him in the end.
All right, earlier today on Twitter, Anonymous's AntiSec movement posted that they had pwned some people. I like to pronounce it pwn to make it clear in audio that I'm using the P. I know, but it's not technically right to pronounce it pwn.
I've always
right?
said pwn.
Well, I mean, I think that when you're talking, you say pwn. I mean, there's pure ownage is spelled PUREPWNAG, obviously, but it's pronounced pure ownage. But I guess when you're making a mockery of the misspelling, I guess you have to say pwn.
All right.
How else would you say it?
I just wanted clearance on
I mean,
that.
think
You
about
just
that.
say own.
Yeah, at CanSec West, they have the pwn to own thing, where
There
like
you
if
go.
you hack the laptop, you get to keep it, kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I guess we all thought Hackapalooza was over, but I guess it's not, right?
No, it's actually been going on, but it's been getting to the level of virus reporting where the targets were not quite so interesting that you'd be just spending every show talking about, they got this company and they got that company. But they got Booz Allen Hamilton today. And Booz Allen Hamilton...
Which is not just a boozy guy you see at the bar.
No, it is not. They are a significant military contractor of the level that they appear in almost every conspiracy theory about world government. I mean, they're that huge and penetrating and run by a bunch of ex-military folks. And AntiSec claims to have compromised a server at the consultant, released internal data they called Military Meltdown Monday, includes about 90,000 military email addresses. So really not, not a bunch of passwords and stuff, but
What I've read is that they quoted in their paste bin, of course, because that is the place to put your text out.
Right.
Most shiny is probably a list of roughly 90,000 military emails and password hashes.
Okay, so they got the hashes, but not the clear
And they're
text.
saying that
Okay.
they're MD5 non-salted, of course. So,
non-salted?
Yeah, which
Booz
means,
Allen, come on.
Which means those could be reversed in just a matter of minutes.
They
on
also claim to have
complexity.
deleted source code from the servers that they found and just decided wasn't very interesting, so they just got rid of it. And they claim to have gone after Booz Allen because they believe that Booz Allen was up to some of the same tricks that H.B. Gary had been up to. If you missed the H.B. Gary story, H.B. Gary was hacked because they were going to unmask Internet hacktivists. They were conducting an astroturfing campaign. They were trying to counter WikiLeaks on behalf of Bank of America, and we're going to spy on unions. And AntiSec claimed Booz Allen was going to do similar stuff, so they went after Booz Allen. They got him. AntiSec also included an invoice for their audit of the Booz Allen security systems, totaling $310 for a few hours of work. Not bad.
Yeah.
No, it's a reasonable rate.
I mean, the difference between a hacker and a security
A lot
professional
less
is
than
a
a
decent
lawyer.
paycheck.
Yeah. Okay, they also claim to have boosted maps and keys for various other treasure chests, is what they call them, buried in other government agencies, federal contractors, shady white hat companies, and they say this material surely will keep our black hat friends busy for a while. Now it ceases to be funny.
Right.
Now it starts to be very serious. Now the hashed logins, if they can crack those, that's pretty serious too. But these things together are possibly a security threat.
Right. The other one, it's just like, okay, well, then you just have a, I guess, company-wide, or not company-wide, but, agency-wide password reset, including U.S. CENTCOM and SOCOM and the Marine Corps and the Air Force. I could imagine this getting costly quick.
Yes. Booz Allen has not commented on the hack. They've posted a comment saying that they don't comment.
It was a tweet that pretty much said, we just want to remind everybody that we don't comment on security allegations of
which is typical. It's that doesn't really tell you anything.
They kind of said, listen, we're not saying that we don't know what's going on here, but we're not saying anything else.
Yeah, you don't want to encourage hackers by talking about the hackers.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to retweet the hash that you were sent and say, what, did you sink my battleship?
Yeah,
that would be no good.
They're not playing in that sandbox.
Yeah, this is the military. This isn't Sony.
Yeah. Would you say, Darren, that this is the biggest hack that anonymous lulsec AntiSec has done?
Well, I don't know, because really saying anonymous and lulsec, it's kind of confusing as to who is
I say it that way because
it's
I'm
one of the bigger ones lately.
Of those three groups, however interlocking they are,
I'd say that the RSA one was probably bigger.
Yeah, because they actually hacked the dongles.
Yeah, and then that one leads to so many other things.
Was that anonymous?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's confusing to say. Like,
anonymous never took credit for
that
one.
It's hard to answer. Like, is this the biggest anonymous hack you've seen? But I could definitely tell you, like, as far as the high profile attacks that we've seen this year, it's up there. But I don't think it's bigger than RSA.
Yeah. All right. We will keep an eye on that and see what falls out of it. Also, starting today in Los Angeles, the Microsoft Worldwide Partner Conference. It should get its due. When partner conferences happen, news is made. And CEO Steve Ballmer was there giving an opening keynote today. He said a lot of stuff. It was kind of a potpourri of announcements. In uncharacteristic Ballmer-like fashion, he said, in a year, we've gone from very small to very small, referring to Windows Phone 7. So he acknowledged that they really haven't grown on the phone platform the way they wanted to. But then he started in on the stuff that they have been successful at. Said, we've sold more than 350 million licenses for Windows 7, while other unnamed companies have only sold 20 million. He said, 350 is a lot more than 20.
Well...
Can I put that into perspective for just a second? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, that's huge, but you're comparing Microsoft on the PC to... Well, let's see. Apple's OS on the Macintosh.
Microsoft is all about licensing. I mean, without licensing...
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can't compare Windows to Apple because the hardware is different. I don't think it's a fair comparison. But then again, as far as the PC is concerned, okay, you can either go Windows or you can roll a cool flavor of Linux or BSD or something like that. And even there, Ubuntu late last year, they announced they were only at like 12 million. I say only. That's still really, really cool for one of the premier distros. But I mean, that's like slightly more than half of Mac. But yeah.
They also made a lot of announcements about cloud, really stressed cloud operations for the enterprise, talked about their motivations in acquiring Skype, saying that they want to connect link their internal similar system with the outside world. Somebody asked Steve Ballmer, are you going to get rid of Link since you bought Skype? He's like, no, we want to bridge that gap so your enterprise can talk to your consumers and business partners around the world. So Skype is going to interconnect with Link.
Skype now with Active Directory integration.
Yes, that's exactly what that means.
As much fun as an afternoon with LDAP. My sysadmin bros know what I'm talking about.
I was actually impressed by some of the numbers. I mean, 12,000 participants attending this year, but you think, okay, well, Microsoft partners, so what's that all about? Microsoft has 640,000 partner companies, and 95% of Microsoft revenue comes from partner-related work. I mean, this is extremely important for them. It's extremely important that they keep good relationships with these people and they keep money coming in. I mean, even though the partners are making money, a lot of money because of Microsoft, Microsoft is also getting that kickback every time.
This is the counterbalance to the criticisms of Microsoft that they aren't growing in the areas that, say, Apple is growing, is they have a huge war chest. Now, they can't. Everyone's already saying, yeah, that's what you've done, and you're very successful at it, but what are you going to do next? And that's what everyone's worried about. But Microsoft's not going away anytime soon. It would take decades to just kind of frivolously burn away that huge amount of enterprise presence that they have already, and this conference demonstrates that.
Exactly.
A few other notes. Windows marketing chief Tammy Reller said that the hardware you're making today will be able to take advantage of Windows 8 tomorrow. I mean, the partners that build the computers that Windows run on are the heart of this audience. So that was good news to them, is that Windows 8 will be backwards compatible, and Windows 7 software, anything that runs on Windows 7, she promised will be able to run on Windows 8. That's another big.
I'd like to see how Windows Phone is going to make great inroads in the future. Since it hasn't.
No, Nokia.
I mean that's
because people purchase the hardware. Oh wait,
Nokia.
No, they purchased.
That's all they really said.
Yeah.
That and cloud.
Right.
Nokia Cloud.
Hey, it's going to get better.
Cloud Nokia.
Crazy
Don't worry
year.
about it. Yeah.
Very small.
Went from very small to very small.
Yeah.
Google finally has put their name, well, they didn't put their name on it, but they are backing an e-reader. It's the first e-reader to integrate the Google Bookstore so that you can get 3 million free public domain books, as well as a few 100,000 paid books, or at least around 100,000 paid books. It's the iRiver Story HD. Launches July 17th for $140. It's a Wi-Fi only book reader, so similar to the Nook Simple Touch.
Yeah.
Except it's not touchscreen.
And it's got gold keys.
You like that?
Bling.
I mean, I don't really like it or dislike it, but it sets it apart, certainly.
If you're not going to have a touchscreen, at least you can have gold keys.
Right.
You'll be able to get it at Target stores here in the United States. And, I mean, really, the big news about it is that it is the first one to use Google Books. Now, the other side of that story is Google's ebook store works on Android. It works on iOS. Mm-hmm. It works on your browser. It works in, I believe it even works in Linux. I mean, it's compatible with so many other options. I'm not sure why you would buy the iRiver. It's sort of the opposite reaction to the Kindle, where it's like, well, I got to buy the Kindle. It sells so well because it's the only place I can read the Kindle books.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the price point is attractive, but it's starting to become not attractive enough because people have so many other options. I mean, if I can read Google Books on a variety of other tablets, even if it was a lot of money to plunk down $500 or $300, I'd still be more inclined to wait and save up and get something that gives me that much more than just a Google Bookstore.
Say getting a Nook that can do both, you know.
And you have one slight advantage. You guys tell me whether you think this is a big advantage or not. Over the Wi-Fi connection, you can read books off the Google Bookstore without having to download them. Same way you would in a browser.
So
I don't understand the idea of streaming a book because we're talking about all of 100 kilobytes here for a book. So, you know, why wouldn't you just cache it?
Because it's got such small storage.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know.
Come on,
I'm
this
just
is.
saying.
Are you saying that this is the cute little Roku of the ebook readers?
I kind of like the Roku, though. When you put it that way, it makes me like, oh, I like this. I
Well, the
like
price
the
point's
Google.
close.
I'll tell you what, I love the Google Bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
I love the experience of reading Google Books on iOS. I love the selection in there. Those 3 million free books. There's some amazing, weird, cool stuff.
Yeah,
they've
got it. They've got it all.
I've never spent $1 on it. I always get the free stuff.
So then it goes back to form and function.
I'm not
gold buttons, for example. I mean,
Do
it's
I
like
need-
I
that's not
feel
enough.
sort of like that's part of this is that it sets it apart. It sets itself apart a little bit. I mean, one might say sort of lame, but it also might be a selling point for somebody else. Because that's really all you're doing is
I
you're
really
buying
like
this.
gold buttons.
Well, I don't know. I mean, otherwise it's very Kindle-ish.
Yeah, very Kindle-ish.
It is. Google's trying to push the fact that they're adding new retailers. They're partners with more than 250 independent bookstores, so they're not just all about chains. That they've got this extended affiliate network, so they've got advantages in the Google Bookstore. But again, you can use the Google Bookstore.
I don't know. Something about this just, to me, feels like the kind of product that in a year they're not going to be doing anymore. Like, it's just not going to take off. There isn't enough to really differentiate it and really kind of set it apart. And in fact, it's behind the newest Nook in that it doesn't have that touchscreen.
Okay,
It's the same price. So
what would you say if this came out a year ago? I mean, because
Maybe
obviously,
then, but-
you know, if Google wants to be serious about this, they need to, and they have been for years with the Google eBooks platform, but they haven't had a solid device like this. Had this come out a year ago, would you feel different?
Possibly. I mean, then it may be more competitive with what was out then. But right now, it's just not even
You think
really
this might
as
be
competitive with what's out right now.
Maybe like a product of like what is it, slow delivery or something? One of those like was in the works way too long.
Well, this is
I think.
the upgrade to the 2009 iRiver.
Yeah, which was compatible with
2 years,
tons of
2 years
different
later.
bookstores.
And it
stuff.
still is. It's
Yeah.
compatible with lots of different, lots of different features. So let's not lose sight of that. But it's, a couple of years later. Let's take a break and say netflix.com/twit. Now you repeat it after me to your friends that don't have Netflix.
Twit.
So say we all.
Go. Here's your assignment for today. Go find someone you know who doesn't have Netflix already.
Like Darren.
If that's you're done. You can just say it to yourself and tell them, go to netflix.com/twit, sign up for 30 days free of unlimited streaming of movies and TV shows.
Sign
let's
up,
try,
Darren.
Let's try it right now.
Darren,
Yes.
you should go to netflix.com/twit because you can sign up for 30 days for free of as many movies and TV shows that you could possibly watch. And I know you don't like to sleep anyway, so this just gives you more of a reason.
Oh, I could stay up all night just drinking caffeine and watching Battlestar Galactica.
That's right, Darren.
I love it.
I'm so glad.
All
Thanks.
right.
I'm stoked we had this
We
conversation.
have a happy
Sarah.
customer sold on
Make
TNT.
this happen in your neighborhood. Netflix.com/twit. We thank you for their
Don't
support.
get left behind in the cold.
You're going to call me for all your Netflix needs. Netflix.com.
Better call Saul.
It's all good, man.
Now the shirt and tie makes a lot of sense.
Still
28% of U.S. smartphone owners use them as their primary internet connection because their freaking internet is so damn slow. It's probably the fastest one they have.
You really think that means that that they're tethering? Is that the way you're reading this?
I didn't see that part of the stat, but it would make sense to me. Pew Internet Project says that 83% of those surveyed, they surveyed 2,277 U.S. adults between April and May of this year, 83% have some kind of cell phone. That's not that surprising. It's a big penetration, but not that surprising these days. From that group, 42% have a smartphone, so 42% of the 83%. And then of those folks who have a smartphone, so we're narrowing down the list, 28% access the internet that way most of the time.
Okay, so 28% of 42% of 83%. What does that mean to me?
10% of all cell phone owners, or 8% of all adults in the U.S.
Oh, nice. Use our cell phones as a primary
As a
internet
primary.
connection?
And of that, nearly a third lack any kind of traditional broadband internet access. So they may be on dial-up or they may be on nothing. A third of the people who use the internet primarily on their phone don't even have another
Well, that's
broadband
interesting because the internet experience that you get on your cell phone is vastly different than you would get on a traditional computer with a browser.
I think this
Wouldn't
is
you
a
say?
surprising number to us, although many other countries have been experiencing this for years now, where people might not even have a computer,
yeah.
but they've got a smartphone, and that's how
Smartphone-
they connect online.
Computers are for rich people.
Right.
And not even smartphones, but just, feature phones that can do texting. The whole beeping phenomenon, the whole phone banking, where people do their banking on their phone in places in Africa, in Asia, India. It's a whole other world of how to use your cell phone because it's a mobile computer.
And I think that, Darren, you're like, wow, the mobile experience sometimes can be a little
Well, no. I'm
bare
just saying that it's
bones.
fascinating to see what the differences are because of 10% of the. Is it saying the country or the world? Here.
Oh, this is a U.S.
study.
This
US
is all
study.
U.S. Yeah.
So if 10% of the country are just accessing the internet through their smartphones, what are they're not accessing Usenet, they're not accessing Gopher. Okay, those are really old. But what I'm saying
they're
is
not accessing Usenet or Gopher.
okay.
Your
but,
point.
But that my point is that they're accessing it through apps like Facebook and Twitter and whatever the other internet enabled apps. I mean, sure, the web browser is still is vastly better than it was in like the Palm Pilot days or anything like that. But I don't know. It's just interesting to think about how their experience must be compared to yours on a laptop.
But imagine if you were using a smartphone, and again, this is primarily, it doesn't mean none of these people ever use computers, it just means that they're using the smartphone version more. But imagine if that was your only experience, and then you're sitting down in front of this laptop and you're like, these browser tabs and blah, it always seems weird when it's not what you're used to.
I'll tell you right now, if my only experience to the web was through a smartphone, I would much prefer an app, and then that speaks volumes to me. If 10% of the country is only using the smartphone to get to the internet, then am I going to use, if say Google Plus didn't have an app on Android, I don't know why I wouldn't, but would I go through the browser, or would I continue using Facebook because it has an app?
I'm going through the
saying.
browser with Google Plus on iOS right now.
Oh, that's so cute.
Maybe not for much longer, but I mean, it does work.
Okay.
I mean, douchebag rich people like us have computers, and we sit there and we compare these things. But if all you have is a dial-up connection or no connection, that smartphone is a great deal, especially if it's prepaid. And you can go a month without it if you need to meet your bills. All this, think of what you have access to versus what the differences are, and it's incredibly revolutionary that is accessible to a wide number of people. Even those feature phones, which just give you a little bit of browsing and a little bit of Facebook.
It still leaps and bounds over what those phones had been, just a generation ago. Yeah.
Yeah. The Department of Justice wants to force you to decrypt your encrypted laptop. Ramona Fricosu in Colorado is accused of fraudulent real estate transactions, and during the investigation, the government seized an encrypted laptop from the home she shares with her family, asked the court to compel her to type the password into the computer or turn over a decrypted version of her data. Now, the prosecution claims this is no different than seizing, say, a safe from someone's house and saying, you need to give us the key. The person
open these filing cabinets.
The person could say, I don't know where the key is. The person could say, I don't remember what the password is. But, there's legal ways to deal with that. But basically, you're assuming, you know what the password is, you know what the key is. Give it to us. We're going to open the safe. And that has been shown to be legal in previous cases. However, the EFF, filing an amicus brief on behalf of the defendant, says compelling the defendant to decrypt a laptop would violate the Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination. Marcia Hoffman from the EFF says decrypting the data on the laptop can be, in and of itself, a testimonial act, revealing control over a computer and the files on it.
Yeah, if you can decrypt it, it must be your laptop, right?
Right. So, work this in reverse. Let's say there is a really incriminating file on that laptop, and Ms. Fricosu knows that, and she knows that if she puts in the password, it will associate her with that laptop to prove ownership and operation of it. Now, if she didn't put the password on it and they were able to decrypt it, they may not be able to make that connection. It may be an incriminating file, but they may not be able to link it to her.
Right.
But if she puts that password in, suddenly she's making a connection like, well, obviously this was your laptop. You knew the password.
It's tough. And it sounds like court cases have gone in both ways as far as whether decryption should be mandatory in cases like this or whether it is a Fifth Amendment violation.
It's very undecided. You're
very
right.
undecided. And when I first read this, I was like, well, I tend to consider files on a computer more material items. Yes, I know that they're electronic, but it's not just a bunch of text. There can be photos and there can be programs, and it's almost more like searching someone's office rather than searching someone's brain. But Ms. Fricosu's defense attorney made a good point that what if she had written a bunch of incriminating information in code in a diary that she wrote down in pencil, and she was the only one who knew how it was coded. She wrote in some sort of special code that no one else understood. It's not so different. So they're like, you have to decode this diary and tell us what you were saying. Well, then that's self-incrimination.
Yeah, the act of decoding it incriminates herself.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole point of the Fifth Amendment. It's, quote, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. And I don't think this is like, the whole analogy of, oh, give us the key to the safe, because that's a physical object. This is something and shall remain private, I believe.
It could be incriminating to give them the key to the safe when they open the safe and find the gun that killed the person or whatever. You could make that argument as well. So,
or they could. I guess if you have enough evidence, you can just open the safe.
I guess the difference
force.
is with the case. Yeah, you're right. They can get the crowbar. And break into the
theoretically,
safe.
You can't take an axe to a laptop and decrypt it.
If she didn't use TrueCrypt, they could crack it. Maybe.
You're right, and this is why we should all be using 40-bit
Or maybe she used a
GES.
dictionary password.
Right. Yeah. Or
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and all set that MD5 hash. The other wider implication here, however they decide this, is border searches. Right now, if you bring an encrypted laptop across the border and they take you in another room and they're like, hey, we want to see what's on your laptop, enter your password, it is not for sure whether they have the right to do that or not, although the courts have said at the border there's different rules. If this case goes in favor of the prosecution, there's absolutely no question that they can do that at the
give us
border,
your passphrase.
which is why you need to do a hidden volume in TrueCrypt.
Absolutely. And I'm saying they can pry my passphrase from my cold, dead hands. I mean,
Keep it written on your hands?
No, that actually is my passphrase. I have to change it.
Do you use a cap in there? All right. Google Plus is causing everyone to state their opinion about Google Plus. You can't go 2 feet on the internet without tripping over somebody's Google Plus blog post. In fact, the smallest, most innocuous things that happen regarding Google Plus are making headlines. For instance, Vic Gundotra wrote at 2:05 a.m. this morning, which, by the way, would be like 11 p.m. Pacific time, so he wasn't up that late.
Well, sometimes people are up at 2 a.m. Pacific time also.
But it was 2 a.m. Eastern time, so it was like 11. He's out here on this
Caffeine
coast.
and Battlestar Galactica.
It
Just saying.
happens.
So he wrote, quote, "Lots of criticism for Google Plus. We are listening and working to address. Stay tuned for changes this week." Now, they've already made a few changes. They've been saying we're listening to your criticisms all along. He's really just reiterating what they've been saying all
He
along.
said nothing.
Computer
just that
World.
We'll continue to make changes.
Computer World headline, Google changes coming to Google Plus this week. And the subhead said, lots of criticisms.
Come on.
I mean, they're right. It's true, but...
But I clicked on that link thinking, ooh, yay, fun, goodies. But there's nothing.
No, it's just they're
There's nothing.
constantly, it's in field test mode. They're constantly improving the product. It's
And
not-
they said that from the very beginning.
Why are people so hyped about Google Plus and writing about it in so many different ways and so many different versions? Is it because people are dying for an alternative to Facebook now that MySpace is pretty much, dead in the water?
Some people have posited that because you have finally a good alternative to Facebook to jump over to, you can do the whole Facebook reset where it's like, all right, now I get to add all my friends again, and I've always wanted to unfriend Sarah Lane, but I've never had the balls to do it. And now I
Yeah.
just don't have to add her at
Just
all.
put me into some crap circle and you never
Yeah.
read. And
Yeah.
I don't even know the difference.
People I was
you get-
afraid to unfriend circle.
Yeah, you don't. Well, you do get an email that added you to a circle, but you just don't know that it put you in my douchebag circle.
That's exactly right. I think a lot of this, there are a few factors. Partly, Google Plus is not open to everybody yet, so there are people who are still just kind of like excited and frustrated that they can't get in and they want to read as much about it as possible. Then there are the, I guess, early adopters. I guess we could put ourselves in that category that are still figuring out all of the bugs and, oh, this doesn't work well, and they got to figure out how to collapse comments, and, oh, my newsfeed is such a mess. And so we're providing a lot of feedback, and that gets people hyped up. When you're like, this is a cool service, but it has a long way to go. And then there are the people who are kind of confused, like, should I leave Facebook and come over to Google Plus because I'm a Facebook user, and that's not perfect either. And is Google Plus more perfect? Which of course it is not. And I don't even really think that they're direct competitors. They're very different things. I think it's more of two social networks that do different things rather than you need to pick one over the other. But that's all contributing to the hype.
I think most definitely the whole closed beta, Web 2.0 hype of 2003
that always gets
mechanism
people
is here
riled up.
again. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
out of reach.
You're right.
I threw a bunch of stories in here. People talking about how Google will balkanize your social life, and predicting Google will go from 0 to 100 million users faster than any other service in history. Just crazy stuff like that. But there was one from an Australian hacker that caught your eye, right, Sarah?
Yeah, this was a guy. His name is, let me make sure I get his name right, Donji Prasanna, and he used to work on Google Wave. He was at Google
May it
when...
rest in open sourceness.
Yes. He was at Google and was in a lot of the conversations with the Circles team, as they were known back in the day, of their whole idea about adding Google Circles to the Google social experience. And at the time he said, I don't know. I guess this is fine and good and everything, but I'm not wowed by it. But it was something that they were going ahead with. Well, there was a deck of Google's intentions that was something public. And he had said to the team at the time, aren't you guys worried that the folks over at Facebook are just going to get on this faster than we can, because Facebook they tend to be a little bit scrappier and get things pushed ahead because they have more of a
I have a small team.
Yeah,
That's
smaller
what
kind of
Zuckerberg
hacker
has
Google.
PHP
emphasized.
based.
Anybody who
Yeah.
works at Google, has complained about how their engineering department is kind of bloated. It takes time for stuff to be pushed through. Well, and for whatever reason, Google, it was public information. Turns out, lo and behold, Facebook Groups launches, and he's all worried about it, and he's going, oh no, so this is exactly what I was worried worried about. But Facebook groups is sort of just this, if you want to put people in groups, it's not really part of the Facebook experience. It's like this tacked on thing. And he went, what I was worried about, it's almost as if Facebook doesn't even get it. They don't even get what we're trying to do. They didn't steal our idea at all.
No.
Yeah, Sarah, you're a social media guru. After the show, I'm going to just, hopefully you can show me where they put groups, because I can't even, I started to use it once, and then I don't even know where they put that, anyway.
I mean, it's definitely there, but it is not essential to the Facebook experience. And that is the difference between Facebook and Google+.
Yeah.
You have to use circles to use Google+. You can have more circles than 2, or you can keep
have
them,
just one.
Or you can have just one.
can't have
But that is a
nested circles.
fundamental part of how it works.
You can't have 0 circles. There are no null circles.
You can't have a circle in a circle, though.
Not
You might be able to.
Well, you
Maybe-
can.
No, it's a manual process. You
Yeah,
can't,
exactly.
You
You
can't
just have to do
nest
it manually.
circles.
Right.
You can't nest and you can't merge currently, and that's something that a lot of people are complaining about.
And you can't have synced circles where everybody agrees to have the same people in the same circle, which is Facebook
Like
groups.
lists or
That's
which is the
right.
one thing that Facebook groups does.
Right.
Let's finish off with Apple's patent roundup. They're riding off into the patent sunset, shooting their patent guns in the air.
Rootin' tootin'
There's like
patents.
3 or 4 stories here, so we're going to do this McLaughlin group style, and and I'm gonna hit everybody with what you think. First of all, Personal Audio, a patent licensing company with a highfalutin facility in Beaumont, Texas, won a decision in patent-friendly Eastern District Court of Texas. Apple is now asked to hand over $8 million to settle iPod violations. The iPod was found to violate the patent for downloadable playlists that allowed you to skip forward and backward through a list of songs. Darren Kitchen.
Forward and backward through songs.
Down.
Down.
Sarah. Lane. That's a
Down.
That's a down. That's also
Wow, that was
down.
pretty hardcore down.
So in other words, we're down on this decision. Apple's going to appeal it anyway. This isn't over yet. The W3C, the folks responsible for the standards of HTML, or at least partially responsible, issued a call for prior art invalidating 2 Apple patents which describe a widget security system and an application which covers safe distribution and use of content. The reason they're doing this, why is W3C taking on Apple? W3C hoped Apple would grant it a royalty-free license for that very intellectual property so they could include it in the widget access request policy specification for web apps. This is part of standardizing web apps. Apple said, nope, this is our intellectual property. We're not giving it up for free to anybody, especially not a standards agency, which would allow everyone in the world to use it. Darren Kitchen, what do you think?
Meh.
That's all you think is meh?
Well, okay, what I think is, it's like, come on, Apple, it's time to share some love to make the internet better place for everyone.
Wrong. The internet is not a place for everyone. Jason Howell.
Down. Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs down.
Wrong, because
Wrong.
you didn't use enough words. Sarah
Oh, okay.
Lane.
Apple needs to play nicer.
You're right. Sarah Lane has it right.
Yay!
That doesn't mean they have to
I
give away
kind
the
of feel like
patents,
we
though.
all said the same thing.
Yeah, I kind of do.
So.
That's how the McLaughlin group does it. And finally, we don't have to go roundtable on this one. Apple has filed a second complaint against HTC to the International Trade Commission. Targeted in the complaint are more than a dozen Android smartphones and the HTC Flyer tablet. So that's just part of the ongoing morass, World War I-like patent flagration that is going on. Is that a word?
I'm gonna
Conflagration. I
Yeah,
think that's
sure.
what I was reaching
We'll
for.
let it fly.
All right. Let's move on to the news feed before I say something else stupid. News Corp's purchase of British Sky Broadcasting, B-Sky B as the kids call it, hit a snag today. The deal will be subject to the UK's Competition Commission, which ought to delay the purchase to 2012 at the earliest, before the voicemail hacking scandal. Everybody thought it was going to be approved this week, but things are looking bad for the Murdochs. Both News Corp's and B-Sky B's stock dipped after the news made the rounds.
HTC has announced a timeline for its phones that support unlocking the bootloader, so that should excite some of you. Over on its Facebook page, HTC says to expect the HTC Sensation in August, and some unstated time later, expect the Sensation 4G and Evo 3D on T-Mobile and Sprint, respectively. The ability to unlock the bootloader should be fully operational by early September.
That's no bootloader, it's a space station.
Ah.
It's a trap.
And on the other side of that, the head of strategy and product management for Samsung's U.S. mobile division, Omar Khan, has jumped ship. Khan is leaving to take a position at Citigroup. Now, a Samsung representative spun the situation by saying Omar's not leaving to join a competitor to Samsung, and we anticipate having a continued relationship with him once he's settled in his new role.
Another employee said, "He put things in our ears." Researchers at North Carolina State University have found a new piece of malware that targets certain Android devices called Hippo SMS, and it texts a premium number without the user's permission. The attacker gets paid a portion of the revenue earned by the premium number. Additionally, Hippo SMS is hard to say. Also, Hippo SMS deletes incoming texts that could alert the user of an issue. The malware was found in alternative Android markets, not in the official Google app market, and appears to affect only users in China, not users not in China.
It's like Bonsai Buddy all over again.
It is. You're right.
That's no good. The 6-company consortium that bid $4.5 billion on those Nortel patents, remember that, has received court approval to buy those patents. The consortium, known as Rockstar Bidco LP, sounds like an energy drink, but no, that's Apple, Microsoft, and RIM. That's who they are. Once the deal is officially completed, they will be the proud owners of 6,000 patents and patent applications. Not passion, patents, but they're very passionate about them.
They are.
Related to wireless networking technologies like LTE. Who wouldn't be passionate about that? Now, I should say, although they were outbid, Google does get an A for awesome with their bid of, wait for it, $3.14159 million. Google bid pie.
Yay.
Yay. But they still lost.
Only to, what, 5 digits?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, Google.
I guess that's why they lost. They didn't really deserve it because they didn't try hard enough.
They had the larger number.
You know, they could have gotten those really big checks. You know, the ones you see, like the clearinghouse checks. Anyway,
Yeah.
those would be awesome, just with pie going way off.
Kenny
the
D
page.
wins. He says, that's an irrational bid.
All right.
You deserve nothing, Google. How dare you?
Back on track. PC Mag is reporting that DisplayPort to HDMI cables may be recalled. The marketing director of HDMI LLC said that any cable that doesn't include HDMI connectors on both ends is in violation of the HDMI spec. And that would mean that many DisplayPort to HDMI cables could be illegal. Now, HDMI LLC could require that those cables be recalled, but it hasn't done so yet.
Give us your HDMI DisplayPort cables now.
I'm saying a Y cable. Huh?
Why? Oh.
That would be HDMI.
They just
on both
say
sides.
that the Y cable has to have HDMI on all three ends.
sides.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
IDC says that Android tablets accounted for 34% of global tablet sales for the first quarter of 2011. Compared to the previous quarter, that's an increase of 8.2% for Android tablets, but tablet shipments overall declined 28%. The iPad is still the dominant tablet, but these numbers show Android gaining some serious ground.
Verizon's unlimited plans aren't dead. They're just mostly dead. If you're a Verizon subscriber with an unlimited 3G plan, you'll be able to upgrade to a 4G phone and keep that unlimited plan, plus get access to $30 a month 4G tethering plan. Verizon posted the news on its Verizon Support Twitter account, so I think they mean business.
Have fun storming your plans. Move on to the randomizer. Move on to the randomizer. Do it now. Randomizer. Randomize it.
Not hearing it.
Randomizer.
Yeah, whatever.
Randomized timer.
Yes. Well, we have two different takes on this Robocup 2011 story. One comes from the British Broadcasting Company. They say the UK Robot World Cup hopes were dashed because the UK team didn't win. However, US team Romala has swept Robocup 2011, winning first place in both the kid size and teen size divisions. USA. It is America's first full-size autonomous humanoid. Charlie managed to also make the high score record for the teen-size division. Darwin, the kid-size robot, beat the Darmstadt Dribblers. They're mortal enemies, I would assume. They have been programmed to believe. They're also the previous world champs and continued on to the finals.
Douchebag robots.
I hate it when
You suck.
I hate it when that robot takes a dive and like pretends like he's hurt. Sucks.
You should definitely
Bunch
click
of
through in the show
actors.
notes though and check out the video. It's 27 minutes long, so if you're having trouble
So it's
sleeping
shorter
tonight,
than an actual football game.
That's
Very
true.
nice. Let's do the calendar.
Hey, that worked.
The Firefox 7 pre-release with reduced memory footprint lands in Aurora Channel. It has Firefox 5 arrived last month, and then Firefox version 6, if you're wondering what's up with that, they're in beta status and expected to launch on August 16th. So you have versions all over the place. Just pick your poison. Apple seeds iOS 5 beta 3 and a lot of other goodies to developers. So if you're interested in that, what are you waiting for, Tom?
Well, I'm not waiting for anything, but if you're not a developer, you would have to download it illegally, so you should wait.
Well, I said to developers.
But if you're a developer,
and you are one.
there's nothing to wait for.
So there you have it.
Except for the downloading.
So get on it.
Yeah.
What you could do with your smartphone. Aren't you one of those 10%?
No, you have to download it on a computer.
Oh, well, then there's your compelling reason to have a real computer.
There you go.
Tonight, live on the MLB's Facebook fan page, guess what you can watch? You can watch the Home Run Derby. That's facebook.com/MLB, which is pretty obvious, but I thought I'd let you know. You can also watch on ESPN and MLB's apps.
These are not robots.
If you don't want to go through, right.
We think.
Well,
Some of them
robot-ish. But if you
Skin
want to watch
jobs.
the Home Run Derby, suffice it to say, you can. Even if you don't have cable, which I don't. HTC Status ships on July 17th. It's currently in pre-order. Relationship with AT&T. This also is a funny-looking physical Facebook share button that will allow photos and videos and websites to be uploaded to your account. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Just depends on how you like your phones and how much you like Facebook, I guess. T-Mobile's HTC MyTouch 4G slide is hitting July 27th for $200 with a contract. Pre-orders start on July 19th. If you haven't signed up for your free year of identity theft protection from Sony,
you're
remember where we were like, you're so out of time, dude. Just,
Remember
Sucks
when you
to be
got
you.
just
when you got
whatever.
pwned?
Actually, that's not true. You have now to the 31st of July
Oh,
to sign up.
they extended it?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I guess
They
just,
probably did
they
meet
just
their
figured that,
budget line item for it.
Yeah, right. Come on, you guys, do this. And Nyko Zoom, this is the cool one. It gives space-limited Connect users more room. So if you like have a tiny little living room and you find that Connect games can be kind of a challenge, on August 23rd, you will be able to buy a $29 device from Nyko that will attach to your Connect sensor to reduce the amount of flail space required by about 40%.
Hey.
I played with this at E3. It's pretty
Did you?
cool. Yeah.
I love the idea. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You know, some people just don't have
I
big
just got
palatial
one.
living rooms.
Yeah, I need
BlackBerry Internet Service 4.1 is coming October 8th. When a user adds an account to BIS, the most recent 20 messages on the server will be downloaded automatically. Previously, only messages sent after setup would be included, so that's kind of cool. Some other improvements like increased attachment size and so on and so forth.
On to the voicemails. 260-TNT show is the phone number to call. We got a couple good ones today. First one is a theory about the iPod with the 3G connection, the iPod Touch that we were talking about.
Hi, this is Alex. I have an idea to this iPod 3G rumor. What if Apple gives you a 3G connection, but you cannot use it? Not for surfing anyway. You can only use it for download apps and download music. Apple made an agreement with the carrier. You don't have to think about it, but you can use it for Apple things, but not for the rest. Eh?
Yeah. Okay, that's intriguing. iPod Touch coming with a built-in 3G WhisperNet-like connection. What do you think, Sarah Lane?
I mean, what? Like, if I think it's cool or true?
Time's up. Darren Kitchen.
Okay, consumer side compelling because at least then you could get your MP3s really fast. And yet, on the hacker side, yeah, let's root that bad boy.
Definitely compelling. Jason Howell.
Compelling, but I just don't see Apple doing this.
Off mic, Ayaz Akhtar. He says thumbs up. All right.
Whatever.
Because he's an iPod Touch user. Let's move on to Mark from Tampa, who is an RF engineer and has a theory about light squared. Has his opinion, let's say.
Yeah, hello TNT. My name's Mark from Tampa, Florida. I'm a broadcast and RF engineer, and I just wanted to comment on the light squared versus GPS manufacturer discussion. I wanted to point out that there's almost zero chance of the light squared allocation signals interfering with the aircraft and commercial GPS receivers because they're built to a much higher spec than the cheap consumer receivers that are at issue here. I think it's on to the GPS manufacturers to up the quality of their equipment, and that would eliminate the problem very rapidly and allow more competition in the broadband market. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Enjoy the show every day. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, so we're going to take Mark at his word. He knows what he's talking about. That is actually Light Squared's argument right there, I think. They're saying, look, GPS folks should have made this stuff, and Mark's going even further and saying, I don't even think it will interfere. Light Squared says, okay, we'll admit that there might be some interference. NTIA seems to think that there's all kinds of crazy interference here. So this is a big controversy amongst the folks who work in this industry.
Thanks, Mark from Tampa. Shedding a little light from someone who knows.
A little Light Squared. On to the email. TNT@twit.tv. Kate in Halifax, Nova Scotia writes in and says, love the show as usual, just listening on the post show for July 8th. I, too, have had the unfortunate situation of dropping my iPhone into the water. It worked pretty well after a few hours in Rice, with the exception of my sleep button. She's referring to the fact that I admitted that I dunked my phone into the pool. Not the end of the world. Apple, of course, wouldn't fix it, water damage, so I suffered through without the use of the button. From time to time, my phone would freak out and want to turn itself off. The slide to power off screen would just appear unprompted. After a few months of dealing with it, this week my phone suddenly began working good as new. I have full use of the sleep button again and no more unprompted powering off my phone. Perhaps there is hope for your phone too. Good luck.
Well, you have that 30 days, right?
I have 30 days
still in that
to return
window.
the iPhone I replaced it with.
Yeah.
And after that, I have agreed to donate it to science. Or, in other words, give it to IAS for this old nerd.
There you go.
He's just going to open
So everybody wins.
He's going to vivisect.
Well, actually, you
Well, it's
don't
dead, so
win.
you wouldn't vivisect.
You might win, but
So,
right now
I don't.
You,
well,
you're
I
just out
got
a
an
few
unlocked
$100.
phone now,
Yeah.
so I can just go traveling and put a SIM in it.
So in
which
a
I can't with my old
way,
one.
it just forced you to do something
that I kind of wanted to do,
Yeah,
but I couldn't justify.
Right.
No, I like that.
Totally.
I don't think that pool incident was an accident.
Oh, I've
Oh.
totally forgotten that this phone is in my pocket. Here I
Gadget
go.
wait, are you proposing gadget justified vacations? Because I don't care what the gadget is, I'm buying it.
Yep.
All right.
Done. Sarah, next email.
From Michael Gray, he's weighing in on Google+. He says, listen, Twitter is just a fire hose. It's great. You get a continual stream of information, but it's untargeted, it's cluttered, it's fun. Facebook is more like a private club where everybody in your circle is connected, and you know anything that will be said will be seen by all of them. Google+ is more. It's the circles. As a photographer and tech geek, I find myself often sharing information that's not germane to a portion of my audience. Now I can talk about developing film just to photographers. I can discuss the finer points of Lightroom with the digital guys. I can talk about technology in general with those that are interested. I can control my signal to noise ratio to my audience, sending targeted messages to those who care. It really strengthens my voice. That's why Google Plus is supplanting Facebook for me, because I need a fire hose, but I don't need a private club when I can focus my message. That's why it trumps Facebook for me, but it does not fill Twitter's niche.
Interesting.
Everyone's mileage will vary. I think a lot of people are already agreeing with Michael. I'm seeing a lot of posts on Google Plus, of course, because people love to talk about Google Plus on Google Plus. But they're saying exactly what he's saying,
Yeah,
is
I
that
totally agree with that.
it's extreme. It's that targeting and being able to be one person in a certain circle, and know that the people who you're sharing with are interested, and you're not just publicly spamming.
And I
other
think
people.
it doesn't replace Twitter the way
Right.
Facebook didn't replace Twitter, because Twitter does one thing very well. And Google Plus is trying to split the difference, but it still doesn't do what Twitter does as well. Although, for asking a general question, I always go on Twitter and I say, hey, you know what? I'm researching a top 5. What are your favorite comic apps? Was the thing I asked
Sure.
today. I did it on Google Plus because, you know what? Going through all those at replies is a real pain in the ass. Whereas Google Plus, it's all threaded.
And you know, another benefit with that too that I found out today, because I used it for tonight's Android show, is if you make something public, you can get a link to that entry with all the replies and publish it publicly
And then you
in
can
like
tweet that.
our show notes. So if there's a lot of really good information in that thread, you can just publish it.
That's a good
and,
tip.
Yeah, you can link right to it.
That is a good
Sometimes
tip.
you just need a fire hose, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different because you need to put out a fire.
Yeah.
We need a new TriCaster, and we are getting one in the new TWiT studio. We'll be using the TriCaster 850, which is essentially, you know, those big trucks you see outside the stadiums for football and baseball games, or maybe sometimes at big political events or whatever. Take one of those and squeeze it down into a box, like that big. So audio users, imagine
Nano truck.
like 2 of my heads. This magical box is a 24-channel system with everything we need to make a TV show. We can use it for desktop or portable production. TriCaster lets us broadcast, live stream, project, and record HD video all at the same time. Visit Newtek, NEWTEK.com if you want to find out more about the TriCaster, or just watch us starting July 24th if you want to see it in action, because we're going to be using it.
Yep.
Every
I
day.
can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us can wait.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have to wait very long.
And big thanks
No,
to
it's right around the
Newtek
corner.
for setting us up with that.
Absolutely.
And of course, you can help us get other pieces of the studio by buying a brick. Bricks.twit.tv. Get your name up on the wall for all to see. We are expecting a lot of people in the first week that we're open. It's kind of daunting how many people are going to be traipsing through that studio for live audience stuff. We're very happy about that. But if you want your brick to be up there for people to look at, you need to buy it now. Bricks.twit.tv. Also want to thank all the folks on our Reddit at technewstoday.reddit.com. Over 1,000 Tech News Today readers are on there, and you should join them. technewstoday.reddit.com. Submit a story, vote a story up or down. If you're seeing a story trending, you're like, I don't like that story. You can vote it down, too. That's what I like about this. American Idol should take a tip from that. Big thanks to Homer Blowley, Patrick Rigby, Captain Kipper, Flash Cider, JX Mitchell, T-Mark, DM Max, and more. Chimera 96, for instance, all submitted stories today, and we thank them so much for helping us figure out what stuff should go into the show. Darren Kitchen, thank you for being in the show. You know, in 2 weeks, we'll be able to have you and I as on the show at the same time,
Which is good because a lot of people
we'll have
were
more room.
starting rumors about.
Yeah, I thought you were the same people.
It's
You're
a
just
common
different
misconception.
Yeah, because when you look to your right, you don't see Darren anymore.
No.
And when you look to your left,
Yeah,
you don't see
it's
Ayaz
true.
anymore.
It's a shame
How
that-
do you know they're the same, not the same person?
You just blew my mind, Merritt.
I'm telling you. It's quantum dissonance. What's going on at Hackfire?
Have you ever wondered how your microwave interferes with your Wi-Fi?
I've wondered why.
Well,
Yes.
we're breaking down the science of Wi-Fi. It's really exciting. Head over to HAK5.org. Check out the latest hack tips.
Is the solution to wrap my house in aluminum foil?
It could be.
But you
and
won't
it
know for
may
sure until
be
you
in
watch the
process
show.
right now, and you will find out, Tom, when you get home today.
And the
Are
answer
you
may
foiling my
surprise
house?
you.
Damn it. The answer will definitely
That's
surprise
the
you.
geek version of toilet papering your house is to
To foil it.
is to Faraday cage it.
Yeah. Twit.tv/TNT is the place to find us on the web. 260-TNT show is our phone number again. And, of course, you can email us about anything you feel like. TNT@twit.tv. We appreciate everybody watching or listening. We'll see you tomorrow.